And we are back. Quick
Take
little
two.
15-minute break.
Take
Take two.
two.
You know, it's going to happen. There's going to be some technical difficulties every once in a while when it comes to streaming, guys. But it's how we got to do things. So, quick little rundown of introductions. Again, I'll go first this time. I'm Dylan. Going to kind of be the facilitator of the show, introduce the topics to the two co-hosts here. Both of these men both have sports backgrounds, become very useful here. I've been doing sports broadcasting now for about 2.5 years. So, Owen, why don't you give the fans a little introduction to yourself?
Well, I'm Owen, as Dylan has stated already, but I have a sports background. I played football, baseball, soccer, rugby, done it all. Don't currently play sports now, but I have a good previous history of it. Now just get ready to talk about some football.
All right, Dom.
I'm Dom, as Dylan stated. I'm a big football fan. Played baseball in high school. I played ice hockey until I was in ninth grade. Ran track. So yeah, I'm in the sports world. But I have a big background and knowledge of sports in general. But yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah, so Dom and I both Philadelphia Eagles fans,
You know,
and Owen
No words.
happens to
No
be
words.
a Texans fan.
No words.
I bet you do have
We'll get
no
into it later.
words.
We'll get into it later.
So, Tom Brady. I just got confirmation that it's working. Like the viewers can hear you too.
Oh, it's working?
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Happy to
Awesome.
hear.
We love to hear.
Wonderful. So, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneer,
Uh-oh.
TB12 to the TB.
Whew.
Let's run down the roster real quick now. Skill position players, not the full roster. Tom Brady at quarterback. Got Ronald Jones and potentially Peyton Barber being brought back for the running backs. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate.
Cameron Brate.
You talk about Tom Brady having no weapons to Tampa Bay. I mean, he's got some weapons there.
He's got an unlimited amount there.
Yeah,
Every
He
position.
does.
$30 million a year is the guesstimated price. No set years yet. Contract still being negotiated. But yeah, Dom, let's hear your thoughts on Tom Brady to Tampa Bay.
I think this is a absolute huge move for Brady. I think just to put the icing on the cake for his career, to be honest with you. Everybody always has that Joe Montana, Tom Brady debate. Oh, who's better? Who's better? But I mean, if you guys think that Joe Montana is better than Tom Brady, I mean, in my opinion, at least, I think Tom Brady is well above Joe Montana. But I mean, different era, you have a lot of different arguments on this and that.
Is this would you consider this to be Tom Brady's, like Joe Montana went to the Chiefs? Is this Tom Brady's move to the Chiefs right here? I mean, this is it, right?
But I mean, yeah, he's gonna retire as a Buck. He won't be retiring as a Patriot unless he's does some one more year and just goes back to the Pats just for what pretty much what Dwayne Wade did when he ended his career in Miami with the NBA. But I don't know. I feel like Brady, he has all the weapons. We haven't seen Brady have this amount of weapons since when he had Randy Moss on the team in 2009. Like,
yeah, it's been a while.
And I mean the Bucks defense isn't too shabby to begin with.
No, they're good. Bring back Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, exactly. They brought back Shaq Barrett. He's a sack machine. And them cause a big dent in the NFC playoffs.
For sure. Owen, I want to swing it to you with a question here. A lot of debate between Brady going to Tampa Bay or the Chargers. Do you think he made the right move?
Personally, I always thought he was going to go to LA, if any team. Well, not LA anymore, but he made a move that I don't think a lot of people were expecting. If Florida was to be the move for him, I was expecting Miami, somewhere that he can retire and bring his family down and enjoy. But Tampa Bay, it was an unsuspecting move for anybody who was looking at the league, And for him to be able to enter an offense now with players that are used to having a quarterback that can throw the ball. Jameis Winston can throw the ball. Now, capitalizing with Tom Brady, all they're doing is cleaning up the mistakes that were made by someone like Jameis Winston. Tom Brady doesn't necessarily make those mistakes that he does, or not to the caliber that he did. So for them to be able to have somebody like Tom Brady in there and just pound on the offense that they've been working on already is a big improvement, not only for Tom Brady, who's getting a great offense, but for Tampa Bay, who gets now a quarterback as Tom Brady.
Yeah. One thing I just want to mention, as you mentioned, Brady. So last year, Tom Brady, 24 touchdowns, 8 picks. Jameis, the 30 for 30 club, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. So, I mean, Tom Brady for sure going to clean up that offense in terms of, like, mistakes being made. But Bruce Arians likes to go deep. Can a 42, 43-year-old Tom Brady throw the ball deep for 16 games plus the playoffs?
It's a lot of work. It's a big workload.
It's a lot of work. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got the guys that'll get open, and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and O.J. Howard even is a vertical threat on that team. But it's going to be tough. Right now, new NFL format, 7 teams make the playoffs. Let's go through some predictions on the Buccaneers' upcoming season. I'll start with you, Owen. Where do you think the Bucs finish record-wise and division-wise?
Now, free agency isn't over, so there's still moves that could be made. Who knows what is to come? I can already tell you that I am very surprised as to a lot of the moves that have happened in this free agency. But so is everyone else. So who really knows what could happen? Anything could happen. But if we are to stay where we're at now, free agency-wise, the Buccaneers, I feel like they have a solid chance. As long as they could clean up a few more things on their defense, and they can play strong, and Tom Brady fits in their scheme. I know he has a history with Bruce Arians. Now he has an offense that is an overload of talent compared to where he was before. Him and Julian Edelman have their relationship, but now he doesn't have a relationship with a receiver like he did with that. 20 years in New England builds a lot of relationships.
For sure.
So for him to start rebuilding in Tampa Bay, it's not only going to show us the caliber Tom Brady plays at, but along with the offense that Bruce Arians runs with.
What's your record prediction for them?
Record prediction? Tom Brady is a big caliber player, yes. But can he completely turn around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season for next season? It's still up in the air. I'm going to go 8-8.
8-8? Oh, man.
8-8.
Is that with the extra 17th game, or is that not until the 2021 season?
That's not until 2021.
We haven't had confirmation
yet,
so
yeah, that's
All
right.
right, Dom. So 8-8, missing the playoffs, I'm assuming.
8-8, missing the playoffs.
8-8, skin of their teeth playoffs. If that.
All right, Dom. Let's hear.
Wow, you really selling low on my dude Brady.
I'm not selling low.
Selling on Brady.
Man.
Wow, listen. This, do you know there's this guy? He's still on the free agent market. His name is Melvin Gordon. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's an extremely good running back. But I mean, listen, I know he wants to get paid, big bread. That's why I held out for the Chargers. But if the Bucs have some cap room, hear me out. The Bucs have some cap room. Go out and get Melvin Gordon. Telling you, Super Bowl team. Telling you right now, 14-2.
Super Bowl team.
14-2.
Oh my God. Defense wins games,
Bowl.
Buddy. Defense wins games.
Listen, I just feel like Tom Brady's with his age and his. I mean, he doesn't have to throw the ball 50 yards downfield. He has great vision. He knows the game really well. And I feel like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are good enough to receivers to adapt their game to where, they learn how to run those short curl routes or those slant routes, which they do already, and they're great receivers to begin with. But I feel like, a deep ball every once in a while, because I mean, Bruce Arians had that risk it for the biscuit type play and energy anyway with Jameis Winston, which it's going to be a little bit of a change for him. But I feel like if Bruce Arians wants to, get that Super Bowl, then he really needs to he needs to look at examine on how he's going to work with Brady here. But I think it's going to be 14-2. winning the Super Bowl.
What is your prediction if they don't sign Melvin Gordon? Because they currently don't have him.
Okay, that's all right. 14-2 with Melvin Gordon. Without Melvin Gordon, I'll say a good 12-4. I think he's gonna split with Breeze, and I think he's gonna see Drew Brees again in the playoffs, and he's gonna beat him. And that's my prediction.
So you think Tampa Bay is Super Bowl bound this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm gonna be the one that splits the difference here. Brady, excellent player. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna take some time though. Bruce Arians likes to launch the ball. Tom Brady has the reputation of a dink and dunk guy. I mean the exact opposite of what you would expect there. But I think Brady will be able to hit some these receivers on deep routes almost flawlessly at times. The connection isn't there with them yet though. And these are some younger guys. I mean, Mike Evans has been in the league for a while, but what real game experience does he have in big-time moments? Buccaneers have been a laughingstock of the league for how long now? So, the defense, stout. But New England's defense last year was stout.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not really changing much for Brady. Brady likes to have a good defense, and that's not changing much. Brady's going to have weapons now. I think this team finishes around 11-5. I think this team would not beat Seattle or San Francisco on a road playoff game. I don't see it happening. Seattle got bit by the injury bug so bad last year. I think that team was Super Bowl bound if they didn't lose all their running backs.
And you know how I feel about Chris Carson.
Yes, we know you love Chris Carson. So
loving him.
But I don't think Brady is a 1 year and done in Tampa Bay. I think Brady's going to play another 2 or 3 years, and I think he can realistically win a Super Bowl in that time in Tampa Bay. But I don't.
In that time frame, yes.
Yes.
We're talking about next season, though.
Next season,
fresh off of the biggest change he's had in his entire career. 20 years on one team in one place.
I think he's going to do it.
This is drastically different to him. He's going to be practicing in consistently warm weather. He's going to be playing games in consistently warm weather. It's going to be a big change for him, and I can't wait to see how he produces. He's here to make a statement. He left New England because he wants to prove himself. It's too much debate. He's been in the league 20 years playing at the highest caliber you can play as a quarterback and still gets hated on and still gets talked about as if he isn't the reason as to why he's successful. I think his move to play with Bruce Arians is to prove that he is the reason why he is successful.
I love that.
Not around him.
I love that transition there, Owen, because my next question is, who do you think wins this divorce per se? Would you say that the winner is Tom Brady or Bill Belichick at the end of the day?
Tom Brady, in my opinion. Yeah. Tom Brady just got put into one of the arguably best offenses in the league. They needed a quarterback of his caliber to play at the caliber they need to play at.
Yeah, I mean,
now Belichick. Now I'm not up to date on who is next in line for Bill Belichick to play in New England. But it's not Tom Brady.
I believe it's Jared Stidham.
Jared Stidham.
But it's not Tom Brady. That's the thing. I can make an offense work at the highest caliber if I have the highest caliber quarterback. Bill Belichick now also, I feel in his side of it, he's also trying to prove that he is that coach. He is the coach you want to be coaching your NFL team. And without Tom Brady, this is going to be one test for him. It's going to be one heck of a test for him.
Yeah, so, Dom, I heard you say Brady. Any other reason besides the reasons Owen listed?
Well, it can go either way. I mean, I think Brady got the better end of the stick. But at the end of the day, either Belichick's going to prove that it was purely him that made Brady great, or either Brady's going to prove that he made Belichick great. So,
see, I completely feel the exact opposite way. I think both of them are going to have limited success without the other one. And you're going to see that it was both of them together that made them the dynasty that they were. Like, you predicted Brady to win the Super Bowl, so I see where you think that.
Yeah.
I just
I
think
mean,
Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion. I know everybody's got he throws the short route, whatever. He makes the smart play 99% of the time.
that's facts.
And
that's facts.
I think the Patriots are
98.
I think I think the Patriots might lose the division this year. I mean, some teams in that division getting better. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Bills Mafia, baby.
Yeah, Bills Mafia might be celebrating, but want to move on here and got to talk about it, Owen.
I've been waiting for it.
The Houston Texans have traded DeAndre Hopkins and a pick in return for David Johnson and 2 picks. When I saw the deal and it said David Johnson's going to the Texans, I was like, oh, I guess the Texans probably traded them a pick or something to get David Johnson. They're really trying to hammer down and get
hope so.
They're really trying to hammer down and get this Super Bowl contending roster, right? And then I'm like, wait a minute, DeAndre Hopkins is a Cardinal? What else could the Cardinals have given up in this trade? And I was like, oh, it's got to be like Patrick Peterson or something. Nope. So I'll let the Texans fan take the floor. What was your initial reaction as a fan of this organization?
So, come before this discussion, before the breaking news, Bill O'Brien and Hopkins had a relationship that was very they butted heads more than they should have.
Yeah.
He didn't feel comfortable, DeAndre Hopkins, in playing with Hopkins, and with support from other past players from Houston, we've learned that there was bad blood and there is things that a lot of the players don't agree with the way he coaches. But for a player, the caliber that DeAndre Hopkins is, you should bypass whatever personal feelings you have. And if that man asks for $18 to $20 million, you give him $18 to $20 million a year. He is that player that can tell the offense, he can tell the team, you tell the owner, I want 18 to 20 million a year, and he's the player that gets that money. They said Houston, as an organization, said they don't do massive contracts like that. But currently, J.J. Watt is under a massive contract like that. And I understand talking about J.J. Watt, it's a big level. But in my opinion, DeAndre Hopkins is able to be talked about on that level.
Yeah.
He is a top 2, in my opinion, the best, but top 2 receiver in this league.
Well, the thing is, I think DeAndre Hopkins is owed that money because DeAndre Hopkins has proven that he can stay healthy. J.J. Watt hasn't had a healthy season in how long? And nothing against J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt is that caliber player. He deserves that kind of money. But DeAndre Hopkins is that caliber player and consistently on the field.
Proves it consistently.
I don't see
without injury and play.
Yeah, I don't see DeAndre Hopkins having off-the-field issues with anybody besides Bill O'Brien. And I didn't really know about it until now.
And it upsets me because I know DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a absolutely wonderful career in Arizona, and it breaks my heart because I know he can continue his absolutely dominant career in Houston if bad blood wasn't a problem.
Yeah, Dom, what was your first reaction to the news?
I didn't have any words at the time, but I have a little spot in my heart for David Johnson, as Dylan knows, Owen knows.
I do too, honestly.
This is the thing. DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the NFL. And he deserves to get paid. Okay? And Arizona's going to pay him.
Yeah.
They will. They will pay him.
And they have now a sophomore QB in Kyler Murray, who has played. We've seen great signs of him in his rookie year last year. And he made a lot of great plays, a lot of exciting plays. And now, given that he has DeAndre Hopkins on his team,
Larry Fitzgerald
still,
Christian
Kirk, Kenyon Drake. I think Arizona is going to be an absolute force this year. But with the whole David Johnson thing, a lot of people want to say that David Johnson is washed up. He's not the same running back as he was, and he gets hurt. And I remember the arguments that we used to say that David Johnson used to be one of the best running backs in the league. He used to be top 3, top 5.
All right, I got some stats for you real quick, just to confirm the people that think that David Johnson's washed. Last year, 345 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and averaged 3.7 yards per carry.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean
behind Kenny and Drake, that is too,
yeah.
and behind the other running backs he's had on that team with him.
But David Johnson shouldn't be behind those guys if he's that caliber player.
True. That is true.
Not. That's the only reason why I think this trade was, if anything, a okay move for Houston. Because yes, now Carlos Hyde is out, and our only running and Lamar Miller, once that free agency is available for him too. With Duke Johnson, that's our only running back there. When it comes to a depth receiver-wise, we have more depth than we do at running back-wise. So to pick up somebody like David Johnson to get him in a starting role and hopefully help him produce at the level that he wants to produce, this could work out in our favor, but nothing will help that toll of DeAndre Hopkins not being with that Houston offense.
Houston replaced DeAndre Hopkins already with Randall Cobb. Thank you very much. In 2020, Randall Cobb is DeAndre Hopkins' replacement.
Listen, Randall Cobb is a solid receiver. Solid. Not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's bad, but I also he's also hasn't been playing with Deshaun Watson. So I'd love to see the connection that they could create. There could be a whole new level to him that we haven't seen yet. We just haven't seen that yet. We don't know.
Yeah,
what was that joke? What was that joke? Do you remember 2017?
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah, you remember 2017?
It was like, oh, you got a free agent to replace DeAndre Hopkins, and they were like, oh, like, what did we trade for Stephon Diggs? No. Oh, what did we bring in Robbie Anderson? No, but you remember 2017? Yeah, Randall Cobb. Oh, okay. So, the one thing that really surprised me about this move for Houston is DeAndre Hopkins is under contract through 2023, and you move him now in the off season.
He's guaranteed tens of millions of dollars for the next 3 years.
No, I understand. Like, he wants a bigger contract, and that's fine. But it's not like he was going to walk after this season. It's not like his value was low for what you traded him for. You had DeAndre Hopkins under contract for another 3 years. Like, you could have tried to work this out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I agree.
I think
That's why I think Bill O'Brien made the mistake of letting his personal feelings got in the way of the bigger picture here. And it's not just about him. It's about an organization, about a team, about the players that he is trading away. We have families. They have families. They have homes. Things that they have to worry about. So if you're going to let personal feelings get in the way, head coaching or general managing is not the way you should be running. You should not be doing those things if personal feelings is what's going to interrupt those.
Yeah, let me just add something real fast. I go to Penn State, and Bill O'Brien coached the Penn State football team for a few years. I wasn't a huge big fan. I mean, I didn't think he was a great coach to begin with, but I mean that's just my opinion.
I believe he builds a relationship with some of his players. Like, I feel like he has a great relationship with Deshaun Watson, but the thing is, it's favorites there too. I love Deshaun Watson, but if I need my whole team to be together, I'm not going to sit there and favor a player. I'm not going to hold a grudge against this player because of something that he's done that has nothing to do with me, which I feel like he has a problem with doing now, given previous opening from past players have been opening up about their relationship with Bill O'Brien, and hearing that there was bad blood between them too, it hurts me a little bit more now because Bill O'Brien is still with us, and now that DeAndre Hopkins, our caliber receiver, is no longer with us.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Bill O'Brien might be on the hot seat after that move. I think that the owner of the team might be like, listen.
He's on my hot seat.
Listen, Bill.
That's for sure.
Fans don't like you no more. Just traded away our best player. And, if you don't start winning.
And we just made him general manager on top of being our head coach. So not only is that one position to fill, but that is 2 positions to fill if Houston does not agree with Bill O'Brien's decisions.
Yeah, so real quick, I want to just ask you guys, if these 2 teams, as they are today, faced head-to-head, who are you taking? Because I think it's a genuine question. Dom, I'll start with you.
Arizona.
Period. like, how big of a gap do you think they are? Like, what would your final
Uh,
score to that game be?
Full health, both teams, correct?
Full
full
house,
health, both teams. Arizona is going to absolutely dominate Houston. I think.
Dominate.
I think. I think it's going to be like a 35-17 type game.
All right, Owen, let's hear it.
Honestly, the Arizona offense will probably tear the Houston defense apart. Our cornerbacks, our defensive backs, is one of our weakest links on our defense and on our team in general, besides our offensive line. So to have Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, and Larry Fitzgerald running downfield, I'm very, very, very nervous. Now, Deshaun Watson is the magic man, so him against that defense, I feel like he could score and still progress point-wise for our team, but we're not going to be able to hold back that Arizona offense.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I think the game's kind of like a shootout. I don't think both defenses are really fully there. Deshaun Watson, he's not even in his prime yet, but he is going to be a top 3 quarterback in his prime in this league without a doubt. And
I agree with that.
He's so shifty, and the words can't even describe.
No,
the
he
things I've
cannot.
seen Deshaun Watson pull
Watching his
off.
highlights and seeing him get bobbled around like a pinball and still make a pass, get kicked in the face, still make touchdowns. It's just
the
it's
wild
unreal.
card game against Buffalo was just a Deshaun Watson highlight reel in the second half. That's all that game was.
Yeah, pretty much.
And without Deshaun Watson, Houston is blown out in that game.
And that also scares me. Because without Deshaun Watson...
And I don't expect DeAndre Hopkins' numbers to change much. Because we've seen DeAndre Hopkins just put up consistent numbers with Brian Hoyer and the likes of that.
14 different quarterbacks over the span of his 5-year career.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
And having 2 seasons without 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I mean, like, this dude can ball, and he's going to continue to ball, and he's going to make Kyler Murray's career a heck of a lot easier. So, speaking of quarterbacks, though, we got a lot. And I mean a lot of quarterbacks that were on the move. We're going to start here with Teddy Bridgewater. Will now be in the same... we'll group Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Brees together because they're both in the same division. That division has the quarterbacks of Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and Teddy Bridgewater in it. Teddy Bridgewater signs a 3-year deal worth $63 million, and $40 million of it is guaranteed, and he will get that in the first 2 years. Last season, Teddy Bridgewater was 5-0 in starts for the Saints, and had 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in that game. Teddy Bridgewater can play, and I think Teddy Bridgewater getting paid over 5 games is like, people would look at that and be like, but he did it for Minnesota. This dude.
I was just about to say, don't forget about that time that he led Minnesota to that playoff run, 11-5.
Yeah, and not for nothing, they're a shanked field goal away from winning that playoff game in Seattle. So Teddy Bridgewater's a dude that can play, and he beat Seattle with the Saints this year. Now, don't get me wrong, Panthers are not as well built of a team as the Saints. I don't expect Teddy Bridgewater to finish the season 16-0 and not have a single loss on the season. I'm not saying that. But this division, I don't know where you guys sit on the Falcons, but if you don't like them, that's still 3 pretty good teams. Because Teddy Bridgewater's got Christian McCaffrey and 2 young receivers and DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel to throw the ball to. I don't think this team's time is now with Brees and Brady in the division. But give it that 3rd year on Teddy Bridgewater's contract, I think that team's a playoff team by the end of Teddy Bridgewater's contract, without a doubt.
I 100% agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean...
Definitely.
And then Drew Brees gets paid 2 years, $50 million, $23 million in the signing bonus. I mean, run it back, I guess, right? I mean...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what they say, right?
Yeah, I just feel a little bad for the Saints, So...
They have the high caliber offense, like one of the highest caliber offenses.
Yeah, Michael.
And they still can't get it done.
Defenses too alone is a higher tier defense. It's finishing. They need to find a way to finish, to pull through and finish a game. They are a Super Bowl contending team.
Maybe if the refs were on their side.
There's some questionable calls in the past with them. Yes, that's for
sure. So, I think I know Dom's answer here. But I'm going to go to Dom first. Dom, let's hear your NFC South division predictions as of right now, 1 through 4: Saints,
As of,
Panthers, Buccaneers, and the Falcons.
I think I'm gonna start with the Falcons. I think the Falcons are an overall mess. Like, and we saw it last year.
Yeah.
Like Matt Ryan,
And they cut Devonta
he's Matty
Freeman.
Ice.
They
I mean,
cut Devonta
Matt
Freeman.
Ryan's a great quarterback. And he's always, shown that. But I just feel like their whole organization right now is just an absolute mess. I mean, they have an offensive weapon in Julio Jones, but they just couldn't get it done last year. They had no running game. And it's just, I just feel like it's just one dimensional. It's just all pass, and that's pretty much it. But I think they're going to be at the bottom of the division, and the Panthers are going to be in third. But I think if Teddy Bridgewater can work some chemistry with Christian McCaffrey and his young receiving core with DJ Moore, I feel like as Dylan said earlier, in about 3 years, Carolina, I'll put some money on them in about 3 years to take home a Super Bowl. But not right now. And then we got the Saints. Saints,
Get to see
they're
Breeze versus Brady twice a year. Gotta love it.
It's gonna be really exciting. Two all-time greats playing at the end of their career. Like it's gonna be. I don't know. I can't even express how excited I am right now. But yeah, the Saints are gonna be the Saints. The usual Saints.
No.
But they're gonna be in second, obviously, and the Bucks I think are gonna finish first. But yeah, the Saints are gonna squeeze in that wild card spot, and we're gonna see Brady and Breeze playing the playoffs. I think it's gonna happen.
So you got the Saints and the Bucks as playoff teams. Panthers and Falcons missing out.
Yes.
All right, Owen. Let's hear your rundown.
Dom knows it. You know it. I know it. Saints are taking that division. Tom Brady's not going to be able to put that team together in time to take down a system that Drew Brees has been running for years now. Drew Brees proves it, dude. He's leading passing yards and passing touchdowns. Tom Brady is a close second, yes, but I don't think 2 times a year head to head, Drew Brees, that's his division.
Nope.
Falcons, I feel bad for the Falcons because Julio Jones, Matty Ice, that's great. Devonta Freeman, that's great.
Devonta Freeman's cut.
Wait, he's gone.
They cut Devonta.
He's
Freeman.
out now.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley
Okay,
though.
well, Calvin Ridley's still there too.
Yeah, what are you doing?
They have a caliber offense and defense. It's just that they can't capitalize either.
Think you want to
simple mistakes that are made way too often with their offense and their defense that really keeps them at the bottom of the barrel. Which I feel like if they can clean up, whether it's new coaching, new staffing of some sort, however that needs to be cleaned up, they could be a higher caliber team. As of right now, no. Teddy going to the Panthers, though, I think it's a good fit for him. I really do.
Absolutely.
He has an offense that he can work with. He's still younger, even though he was hurt before and didn't get to play. Like, he's still a younger quarterback. I know he mentioned a comment about feeling like he's old now, but he really is. He could really start his NFL career from fresh here in Carolina and make a name for himself as a top 10 quarterback in this league if he plays to his full potential. That's for sure.
I agree.
But Tom Brady and the Buccaneers is going to be interesting. I can't put any prediction down in stone because we don't know what to expect out of this. We see it numbers wise. We see the offense looks beautiful. But until we see some action, I don't know what to expect from that team.
I think I'm gonna go.
So
I'm gonna go to the
Saints.
I'm gonna go to the closest farm. I'm gonna see how much a goat is. I'm gonna name him Brady. I'm gonna raise him in my house.
Hilarious. So Owen, 1 through 4, how would you finish this division? Saints at the top, then who?
Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, Falcons.
So you got this as not a great division if you have the Bucks 8-8. So you got the Panthers finishing 7-9, the Falcons down at the first pick possibly next year.
7-9 is where I would put Panthers, and Atlanta. I don't know. I'm not sure where they would land.
Yeah.
Based off their previous two seasons, their history, it's just they've beaten teams that they should be able to beat consistently, but the inconsistency is what really it throws them out.
For sure.
And that's why I think they're not going to finish above 500. And same with with Carolina. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater could be a great weapon, but until they can get some experience there, get conformality, and get relationships built, it's going to be another under 500 season for them.
Yeah. So here's where I'm at. If Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers were in, let's say, the NFC East with the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Giants and the Redskins, right? Let's just say you swapped them. I think they're a playoff team. My problem is Teddy Bridgewater has to play Tom Brady now twice a year and Drew Brees twice a year. 4 games.
And Matt Ryan twice a year.
Yeah. So
you can't forget that too, yes.
Which will only make him a better player.
It'll make him better in the future. But for next season, that's 6 games against some veteran quarterbacks that are still slinging the rock. That's
a lot of learning lessons.
That's tough to overcome.
A lot of learning lessons.
And so I have the Saints winning the division at about a 13.
Come on, where's the love?
At about a 12-4, 13-3 record.
Okay.
And then I got the Buccaneers in second, 10-6, 11-5 around there. I have the Panthers around 500, 8-8, 7-9. Again, it's just if they were in a different division, I could easily see them going 10-6. It's just with the competition they got to play, it's going to be rough. And then the Falcons, man, top 5 pick next year potentially. I hate to say it, but they are on a downhill.
They need it though. They're at that point where they're digressing. They need to get those picks. They need to take those seasons where they're not going to win and use it to their advantage to get some players that can really develop their team in the long run.
I think they need a new head coach.
Yeah, completely agree there.
Yeah.
It must be tough for this team to see Tom Brady twice a year after the whole 28-3 blown lead.
Yeah.
So, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles.
Eagles fan favorite. On the move to the team he dink and doinked out of the playoffs 2 years ago, the Chicago Bears.
Super Bowl champion, Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Unbelievable.
Don't.
3 years,
don't do that.
$50 million. They're restructuring his contract. His contract will be based around his performance. But 3 years, $50 million is where he's at right now for a base. Chicago in a division with Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit. But Detroit, as of right now, not sure how much competition they will be. And then Nick Foles comes in. Dom, how much better do you really see this team being with Nick Foles?
Give me a second here. You see, I love Nick Foles to death. Okay? He got me and my team a Super Bowl.
I can say it for you if you'd like, Dom. This dude can only play football good in an Eagles jersey. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Exactly. That's how I feel. I don't know. Nick Foles, he played for the Rams. Stunk.
Okay,
Stunk it up.
Jeff Fisher was his coach. Give him a break.
Yeah, I mean, but Nick Foles was going to retire. I mean, he was going to end his career. Comes to the Birds. I mean, I just feel like you have to. Nick Foles, I feel like just is a system QB. He is a definition. Like you can coach him to just put the ball where it needs to be at the time it needs to be there. Like I just feel like the Eagles team when he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, the whole overall Eagles team was just so good. It just was an overall great team, and I just feel like Carson Wentz obviously should have won MVP that year. I feel like, but Nick Foles going to the Bears. I mean, I guess they're gonna have Mitchell Trubisky sweating a little bit. I mean, now it's gonna be a QB battle, but I just feel like the Bears are gonna go like a solid 8-8 this year. I don't really see even. I don't know. I don't really like the move.
Owen, what are you thinking?
I think Nick Foles is just another Ryan Fitzpatrick, another Case Keenum, another quarterback that is solid, yes, but he's a QB2. He is the number one QB2. And to have him on a team and give him the money that you're giving him after having Mitchell Trubisky at 25, what are you doing? All you're going to do is have Mitchell Trubisky turn into another Ryan Fitzpatrick, another Case Keenum sitting on the bench. You need to develop him he's young. He's 25 years old. This team is young. They have a defense that holds their own. They need to develop this offense, and bringing somebody like Nick Foles at 31 in there and putting Mitchell Trubisky on the bench or letting them fight it out, however it may be, I'm not sure if that was the best move unless the money wasn't the thing and it was more or less to get some fire under Trubisky, and get him a little angry and make him want to compete to play.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to pay that much to get your quarterback to want to play.
That's where I stand too. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
My thing is, I don't know how Nick Foles isn't the starter for this team if you're paying him that much money. There's no way you're paying a backup that much money. So that means Trubisky's going to be on the bench. And don't get me wrong, Matt Nagy, great coach. I think if anybody besides Doug Peterson's going to get some great potential out of Foles, it's Nagy.
Yeah.
But
he shouldn't want to. He's not in the position to want to.
I think that this team could come back into the playoffs. We're going to talk about the Vikings in a little bit. I could see them falling off a little bit. And the Bears were in the playoffs just 2 years ago, won the division with Trubisky at quarterback. I think Foles is like a slight upgrade, but I don't think it's an upgrade that you should have paid what you're paying for. I think
not for 6 years in age difference and tens of millions of dollars difference. No.
Not to mention the offensive weapons there. Allen Robinson, great wide receiver, don't get me wrong. But their offensive weapons aren't great. The defense is the story of this team. And if that's going to be the story of your team, then you need a quarterback that can make not so great weapons great. And I don't think Trubisky or Foles really is that guy.
They don't have that star receiver that a lot of the teams with a quarterback like them have. They have a roster of wide receivers that are, if we're on it to be on any other team with a star receiver, would be a number two. They're number ones by default. Allen Robinson's great, yes. Cordell Patterson's good, yes. But they're going to have to step their game up with the quarterbacks like Trubisky and Foles in there if they really want to compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah, completely agree. So, Phillip Rivers on the move. Phillip Rivers to the Colts. 1 year, $25 million. I'm going to start here. If I was a Colts fan, I wouldn't be happy with this move. I wouldn't be happy with it. Because you're getting a 1 year rental on Phillip Rivers, because everybody knows Phillip Rivers wants to retire soon. You're stunting the growth of Jacoby Brissett. And Phillip Rivers wasn't great last year, guys.
No.
It wasn't like a Tom Brady situation where Phillip didn't have anybody to throw to. Phillip had plenty of guys to throw the ball to. Phillip had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon at the halfway point of the season. Your team finishes 5-11? Don't get me wrong, I know that there was injuries, but that defense and that offense is better than 5-11.
That is
agreed. 100% agree.
Yeah.
And then $25 million? $25 million on Phillip Rivers. For what? So he could train Jacoby Brissett for a year? You could have brought in somebody else to train. I'm sure Andrew Luck would have showed up at the practice facility this offseason for free to train Jacoby Brissett, okay?
Nah.
I hate the move.
As a fan of the AFC South, though, I like this move. I'll take that the stunt of growth for Brissett any day. If that's how it's going to be, they want to get Phillip Rivers in there, okay. Put him in there. He wants to retire after the first year. Now you're screwed. Now you just had your next up to be quarterback sit for a year when he could have been out there working. And building relationship.
And I think, this was the year to let Brissett grow in this division. The Texans just got worse. The Titans, we'll talk about the Titans in just a second, but I can't imagine they keep that hot fire that they had in the playoffs. They finished 9-7 last year. Let's not forget where they finished last year. And then the Jaguars, number 1 pick next year, maybe? This was the year to let Jacoby Brissett come into his own. I get it. If you have Phillip Rivers, you think, maybe we could win this division. But you really think you're winning a Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers at quarterback right now, with T.Y. Hilton, and then who's your next option at receiver? I don't know. Funchess is, gone, right? Ebron, gone. Jack Doyle? This isn't the year for the Colts.
It doesn't make sense.
This isn't the year for the Colts, so I don't see why you waste $25 million on Phillip Rivers. Dom?
I agree.
I 100% agree with you, Dylan. I didn't really have too much to add here. You pretty much summed it all up. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth here. But yeah, just, Phillip Rivers has been with the Chargers for such a long time and hasn't done really much of anything. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, he's
not
been there a while.
2012 Phillip Rivers anymore.
He isn't.
This is 8 years later, and this is age has taken a factor for him.
It has. I think he needs to retire. He needs to take care of his 50 kids. That's what I think he needs to do.
That's why he needs that $25 million right there.
His kids need him.
Paying for college. Got a lot of college bills.
I mean, he's probably having trouble quarantining right now because I mean the maximum limit's supposed to be 10 people in a space. I mean,
he's got 11 in that household.
I know.
Someone's got to go.
$25 million buy a couple houses for all those kids.
I know. Good.
So Ryan Tannehill got paid.
Yeah, he did.
Do you guys think Ryan Tannehill deserved to get paid?
Overpaid.
I'm gonna start right here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ryan Tannehill is a Dak Prescott. Okay. This is how I feel about the situation.
Dak Prescott can't get paid.
Dak Prescott obviously can't get paid.
He was going to get paid, but he decided he didn't want to get paid.
Dak Prescott is valuing himself, I believe. I don't think Dak Prescott's that good. I feel like Dak should get paid as roughly where Ryan Tannehill should be getting paid at, or a little bit less. But the reason why Ryan Tannehill was so successful last year was
leading rusher in the league.
Leading rusher in the NFL, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened in the playoffs when the Titans asked him to throw for more than 100 yards.
Like, I'm sorry, but the Titans need to sign that man. They need to sign Derrick Henry.
They franchise tagged Derrick Henry and gave Tannehill a bag.
They should have done it the other way around.
They should have done it the other way around. I'm sorry. Like Ezekiel Elliott, great example why Dak Prescott's so successful. I'm sorry. I'm an Eagles fan.
It's very true.
Listen, this is something about me, guys. I'm going to just give you a little bit of background on me quick. Sorry. I'm a big Eagles fan.
He's a traitor.
Okay.
He's a traitor.
But I love Ezekiel Elliott. Okay. He plays for the Cowboys. I know, but I have this. I love him so much. I just I can't even express it right now. But like
his man crush.
Dak Prescott isn't good. I'm sorry, guys. The reason why he's so good is because defense is stacked like 8-9 in the box against Zeke. That's what happened when the Titans But Derrick Henry is such a good runner. He could just plow through guys. Like, I mean, you saw highlights of him last year, like run through guys. Like,
well, it helps that Derrick Henry is an absolute giant.
I know he is a beast.
It helps.
But the thing is, given that Week 16 against Houston, I understand that they needed that spot to go into the playoffs. But for his size, for 16 weeks through the NFL to run for 212 yards. You shouldn't even question about how much money you need to give that man. You just give him that money. He passed 3 running backs in that game to be the leading rusher in the league.
Yes.
If you're going to have a running back perform at that caliber for you, you need to give him the money he wants.
Yes.
And not give it to the quarterback. And I like Tannehill too. I think Tannehill is one of the most precise passers in the league. But he's not going to be able to do that without the help of Derrick Henry, who takes a lot of the pressure off him, like a lot of the pressure off him.
And I don't want to discredit AJ Brown or Corey Davis. I think they're both great receivers. I think AJ Brown.
I think AJ Brown's a great receiver.
I think AJ Brown is going to have a spectacular career ahead of him. I think he's going to do absolutely great. But I just hate the way the NFL looks at their running backs. It's just kind of like they just kind of look at them as like, oh, like you're like a rental, like we can replace you in a few years. We're just going to give you the bare minimum because you take the biggest hit on your body. We don't really care. I hate that standard. I just feel like running backs, they should get paid the most at the earlier stages of their career.
My thing with running backs is you don't need a good one to win a Super Bowl. And that's why they don't get paid. Damian Williams, solid running back. Would you put Damian Williams in your top 10 in the league? No.
I would not.
No, you wouldn't. Pat Mahomes, though. You'd put him right there at number 1 for quarterback. And look what happened. When was the last time that a team was led by its running back won the Super Bowl?
The last time that they were appreciated the correct way. They aren't appreciated the right way anymore.
They're not.
That's where I stand. Running backs like Walter Payton and Barry Sanders, they were appreciated the correct way. That way they could have a career at the caliber that they did. Or you can't underappreciate a running back and just, yes, I understand that there's so many of them. There's so many running backs in this league. Each team could have 2 solid running back ones. That's how many there is. Good running backs. But if you want to make them good or great, the best, you need to do things like you do with Ezekiel Elliott and sign him to a big contract to keep him in your system for a while. You need to do things like the careers that Walter Payton and all of them had, because they stayed with the team and they played a long career and they were appreciated as a running back. They were game changers. You hand them the ball and you're guaranteed yards, you know. And if you don't have that trust in these teams switch out running backs so often that they can't build a relationship, the trust in a running back to give them the opportunity to play at that caliber. And I think that hopefully that doesn't happen with Derrick Henry. But if they decide to give him a big contract, pay him, and keep a good relationship with him, he's going to lead the league for years to come.
You know,
he's going to be top 3 for years to come.
I think I was reading that there was like a certain date that the Titans had to work out a deal with Derrick Henry.
I think it's sometime in July.
Yeah, July. I think it was around July.
That's when like the
July,
Cowboys have to like work out a deal with Dak before like the franchise tag is like officially done.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
We're just gonna move on here quick. Just stick with the Cowboys for a second. Amari Cooper gets 5 years, $100 million. Everybody's getting paid in Dallas right now, but Dak. And I mean, back to your point, Dom. You said Dak Prescott overrated. It's just the weapons he's got. He's got Zeke. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got Michael Gallup. He's got a defense with a great defensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence there. Had Byron Jones for a while there. Doesn't have him anymore. Van Der Esch. Dallas built a great team. And the reason that I think that they should pay Dak is because you want to keep this core together right now. Because they've all grown together. All these guys are so young together. Amari Cooper has been in the league the longest out of all these guys, and Amari Cooper is so young. And Amari Cooper reinvigorated his career in Dallas, and that's why he got paid. Right now, Dak is playing hardball with Jerry Jones, and he's losing. And the thing that I'd be worried about if I'm a Cowboys fan, if Dak gets franchise tagged, who's to say he doesn't just hold out for the first 6 weeks of the season and say, oh, you're going to franchise tag me? Well, I'm not going to put my career and body on the line for you guys until I have to because you don't believe in me. And from the Cowboys side, I get it. Mike McCarthy's a new coach. He doesn't necessarily want to commit to Dak long term. He doesn't know if that's who he wants to be his guy. It's a rough spot for both of them. But at the end of the day, they're both going to do what's best for themselves.
That's true.
I agree with you, though, when it comes to the relationship thing. They are young. They all grew up together in the past couple of years now, developing themselves in their NFL careers. That's great for an offense. That's great for an organization. It's a beautiful thing you want to see. Tom Brady worked so well in New England for 20 years because they had built relationships. They gave him the chance to build relationships. If you don't give these players chances to build relationships with their teammates, with their staff, with the concessions people, the people who are selling their stuff in the stadium, they build relationships with the people that they surround themselves with every day. And the longer you keep them in that system, the better they're going to get.
Yeah, and you know, the Cowboys, I know that I'm an Eagles fan, but they're in the most winnable division in football. The NFC East is the Cowboys and the Eagles. They got 2 teams in there that are 4 games that you should win for the foreseeable future for a while to come.
There's no team, the Cowboys and Eagles should be 4+ wins, no problem.
And every year. My point being, if you're the Cowboys, your time is now to win. You have an easy path to the playoffs and only one other competitor. There's so many divisions with a bunch of other competitors. We just talked about the NFC South before. The NFC North, you even have the Packers, you have the Vikings, and you have the Bears potentially competing. The NFC West, I mean, I think it's the best division in football as of now. The only other division where it's like, if you were one of these teams, you might win is the AFC South now. The Texans moved on, and Phillip Rivers and the Colts, and Ryan Tannehill is your quarterback if you're the Titans, like that's a winnable division as well. And I guess also the AFC East now that Brady's gone. But those are 3 winnable divisions, and if you're Dallas, you're in one of them, and you're arguably the most talented team in the league all around. Like, what are you doing? Pay your players now. Worry about
Pay
the
your players
future
now.
later. Your time is now to get there.
And if any team has the money for it, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, I know you're a big Zeke fan, Dom. Do you want to see Dak Prescott be his quarterback for the future?
That's a tough question. Like I just feel like last year, the way that the Cowboys, I don't know, like Zeke had a bit of an off year last year. I mean, he didn't rush for his usual numbers. He was down on yardage last year a little bit. Still put up a decent amount.
No, I mean still
but
great numbers.
still not as close as to where his rookie year or his rookie year numbers. I just the Cowboys need to give him the ball, like the Titans give Derrick Henry the ball. Like you have a running back there, use him.
And if you're the Cowboys thinking in that mindset, though, maybe you're making the right move by not paying Dak. Then, I mean, do you really need to pay a quarterback $40 million a year to hand the ball off to your running back? I mean, you could bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he'll do that for what?
Exactly.
$7 million.
Exactly. I feel like right now Dak Prescott needs to know his worth, and he needs to be okay that it's Zeke's team.
Yeah, I think
Dak's team.
I think Dak should take a $33 to $35 million a year offer. I saw that that's what the Cowboys were offering him. You're in a chance to win a Super Bowl if you're Dak Prescott. You are on America's team, the Cowboys. So if you win a Super Bowl as the quarterback of the Cowboys, you know how much money you're going to get from advertisers coming to you? That'll make up the money that Dallas didn't pay you that you deserved, you know?
Playoff games will pay him the difference he is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concessions, fans, jersey sales, meet and greets, commercials, whatever it needs to be, you'll make that money up. You'll have no problem making that money up.
Continuing on,
and when you're making $33 million a year, what's 40? Like, you're really gonna? If you complain at $33 million a year, you shouldn't be getting $33 million a year.
Yeah. So Stephon Diggs is on the move. Stephon Diggs is a Buffalo Bill. Stephon Diggs, we've seen he's had some locker room issues in Minnesota. He's been very vocal in their playoff game versus New Orleans. We saw Diggs throw his helmet on the sideline because he wasn't getting the ball, even though at that point Minnesota was up. Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs was arguably the best wide receiver duo in the league, now separated. Stephon Diggs goes to Buffalo to play with strong-arm Josh Allen, who could throw the ball a football field in length. And now you got to contend with Stephon Diggs on one side, John Brown on the other, Cole Beasley in the slot. Buffalo, my early prediction to win the AFC East this year. Dom, I could see that you're chomping at the bit to talk about this one. Let's hear it.
You know, Stephon Diggs, doesn't he remind you of somebody and of some other receiver? This situation's kind of similar.
All right, let's hear it.
It's kind of similar to like an OBJ, huh?
Odell Beckham
a little bit.
Jr.
Yeah, I think it's a little similar. OBJ, star stud on the Giants, going to the Browns.
Yeah, I'd like to confirm what you're saying there, because a lot of people don't see Stephon Diggs as a wide receiver one. So these were DeAndre Hopkins' numbers last year: 104 receptions, 1,165 yards, 7 touchdowns. I'm sure that hurts to hear, Owen. Stephon Diggs' numbers last year as the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota with Adam Thielen in front of him was 63 receptions, so that's 41 less than DeAndre Hopkins.
Not a receiver 2 spot.
Yeah, he had 1,130 yards, 35 less.
Yeah.
And then 6 touchdowns for Stephon Diggs on that team. A crazy number, crazy feat. And now he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for a team that likes to sling the rock deep.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen's reckless with it. Josh Allen will force that ball to Stephon Diggs if that's what Stephon Diggs wants.
Yeah, that is true. But let me get back to my point here. We know OBJ is a diva. Come on now. The way that, he handled himself, the locker room talk, and Stephon Diggs, he became a little bit of a diva this past year, and he finally got his wish to a new team. You know, he's now the wide receiver number 1. I mean, OBJ was already wide receiver when he played for the Giants, but this is Diggs' time to show that that he's better than Adam Thielen. I feel like Josh Allen is. I feel like a lot of people doubted him last year, but he finished, I believe, top 10 in QB fantasy points, if I'm not mistaken, Dylan.
Somewhere around there. I was actually going to swing this question to you. Stephon Diggs, is he a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football this year? Top 12, PPR.
Absolutely.
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 Is he worth a first round pick?
No.
No. Second round
no.
for you.
I'm gonna say I'd be looking at Stephon Diggs late second round, third round.
Oh,
that's where I'm thinking about.
No, I agree with that. I wouldn't take him first round. There's way too many options to have before him. Yeah. Way too many.
A lot of risk when it comes to taking Stephon Diggs too, because haven't seen him do it quite yet. There's guys like Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, list goes on, that we've seen already perform. But you compared him to Odell Beckham. After Odell Beckham's down year in Cleveland, who are you taking in fantasy? Stephon Diggs on the Bills or Odell on the Browns?
Personally, I'll take Stephon Diggs.
I'm taking Stephon Diggs. I don't know. I feel like Baker Mayfield really needs to figure I'm sorry here, but he needs to figure his shit out.
It's not Odell's fault there. It's not.
Baker Mayfield is an absolute mess. He needs to stop making commercials. He has more commercials made than he does wins. Okay, he needs to like figure himself out a little bit.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm taking Stephon Diggs.
And yeah, I mean, I said I would take the Bills to win the AFC East. I know Dom, Bills Mafia.
Oh,
Owen.
Yep.
Are you
Bills
also
Mafia.
on board?
I can probably agree on Bills taking this one. I think it's going to be different for Stephon Diggs and definitely for Josh Allen being able to throw to somebody like Stephon Diggs. But I feel they're young. They're a younger team too, and they have somebody like Frank Gore. I'm not sure what his status is, if he's
they have
old as dirt or not yet. But Devin Singletary still young. They have they have Josh Allen. They have now Stephon Diggs. They have John Ross, like you said. It's a young team, and years to come. This year, if they can make it click, that they're the team. Years to come, they will continue to be that team. They will continue.
And you already know the Bills' defense is it's usually always good every year.
Yeah, Sean McDermott, great at coaching on the defensive end for Buffalo.
Excellent coach.
Real quick before we move on to defensive players, I want to touch on fantasy for these guys. I'll start with you, Dom. Are you taking Tom Brady in fantasy or Drew Brees?
Wow, I
don't want to hear Dom's answer. It's Drew Brees. It's Drew Brees.
No. It's
Drew
Brady.
Brees.
I just got off the phone. My goat has arrived at my front door. I'm gonna go bring him upstairs. But I'm sorry, guys. Tom Brady. It's Brady.
Okay, I'll split the difference here, and then I'll explain myself. I took the Saints to have a better record than the Buccaneers. In fantasy, however, I would take Tom Brady because Alvin Kamara is still a Saint. Latavius Murray, still a Saint. Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber are the Buccaneers. Tom Brady is going to have to throw more touchdowns than Drew Brees to be successful. And Tom Brady, while Drew Brees has Michael Thomas, has better weapons overall.
And he does have Alvin Kamara, who is a receiving back.
Correct. It's close. That's why I asked the question. But I would take Tom Brady. Real quick, Hopkins, do you think his numbers go up or down? Owen, we'll start with you. Up or down for Hopkins?
Up or down? Down. I think they will go down, and not in a bad way. I just feel that with Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald and other weapons that they have on that offense and Kenyon Drake, he's just not going to have to take on the workload that he is used to having to take on. And I feel like once they develop a little bit better, his numbers will go up better than any season he's had in Houston if he continues to play there. I do. But for now, until the development's there, the relationships are there, the comfort's there, I feel like this ball is going to be spread a lot more still.
So he was
and with Larry still there. So.
Last year, consensus number 1 in fantasy. would you take, real quick, I'll just go back and forth with both of you. PPR league, DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
Thomas.
DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones?
Julio Jones.
DeAndre Hopkins.
All right. I don't know if there's anybody that you guys would put above those three for fantasy.
As of right now,
You got a receiver?
I could listen. I can make an argument right now.
For who? Let's hear it.
Listen, we're forgetting about somebody who
if I hear anything
started.
that rhymes with Balfon Heffrey, I'm leaving.
He's talking about Devontae Adams. I'm pretty sure.
I'm talking about Devontae Adams.
Are you taking?
That I agree.
Okay.
Are you taking DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams PPR?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Call me crazy. I'm taking Devontae Adams.
I don't call you crazy.
Not crazy.
You have Aaron Rodgers. You have Devontae Adams is the only wide receiver there. Devontae Adams will have the targets coming his way for sure.
Listen, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to just look up the way Devontae Adams runs routes.
I've seen them all over Twitter.
It's unmatchable. There's no receiver that can run the routes the way he does.
Oh my god!
All right,
unbelievable.
I don't have words.
All right, rank these three quarterbacks for me in order of how you would draft them in fantasy. Teddy Bridgewater, Nick Foles, Phillip Rivers. You know what? How about this? We'll play start, bench, or cut. Teddy Bridgewater on your fantasy team. Is he a start? Is he on your bench? Or is he on the waiver wire?
I'll start this one, Dom.
All right.
And Teddy Bridgewater is starting.
Starting for your fantasy team.
And on my bench is Phillip Rivers. Nick Foles, there's too much competition there with Mitch Trubisky for me to want to have to rely on him. Say 3 games in, he's having great games. 4th game comes, horrible game, gets cut. Mitch Trubisky's in the rest of the season, and then my fantasy season at quarterback is in shambles.
All right, Dom.
So when it comes to fantasy alone, safe route, Teddy's the man.
All right, Dom, let's hear it.
This is what I think. I think Teddy Bridgewater's is definitely the safer QB to play. Okay, but if you want like a risk it for the biscuit type play, you're gonna throw Phillip Rivers in there because you know Phillip Rivers loves to throw the ball, and he has T.Y. Hilton, he has that deep threat, but like I think I'm obviously gonna cut Nick Foles. I don't like that whole move that the Bears did in general. But I'm definitely gonna start. I'm gonna start Teddy Bridgewater because I mean he has Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, which he's gonna throw him a ton of balls.
Yeah, I mean Kyle Allen proved to be fantasy relevant last year.
Yes, and I believe Teddy Bridgewater is better than Kyle Allen, 100%. But with Phillip Rivers, I think Phillip Rivers is gonna go through his ups and downs in Indianapolis. But we're starting Teddy. Benching Phillip.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said all the points that I'm thinking right there. I agree with what you guys have said. So let's move on to the defensive end. DeForest Buckner, gone from San Francisco. I mean, I'm not too worried if I'm a 49ers fan. Their defensive line was absolutely ridiculous last year. It's still going to be great.
Re-signing Eric Armstead to a big contract definitely helped that move be possible.
Their defensive line is still going to be stout. I'm not too worried about it from them. But DeForest Buckner on the Colts got paid. 5 years, $105 million. Had 7.5 sacks last year. What kind of I mean, this is the star of the Colts defense now. And, you know, in a division with Derrick Henry, you're going to need some guys to stop up the middle. And DeForest Buckner is a guy that can do it. And at the defensive tackle spot, getting 7.5 sacks. I mean, I think he's worth the money that you're paying him for sure.
He's young, too. He's got a lot to develop, and he didn't really get to fully develop himself in San Francisco, and I feel like he has that opportunity here in Indianapolis. If he sticks with them, he can really develop to be one of the best defensive tackles there is in this game.
Yeah. Dom, thoughts on Buckner to the Colts?
I think it's a good move for the Colts. I know the Colts, they were struggling a lot on defense the way it is the past couple seasons, and I feel like they're finally going to establish a good defensive line. Yeah. And I think DeForest Buckner is a great fit for them. And, that's my take.
I think that the Colts could win this division. I don't think that they will, but I think that they could in the future with building up a young defensive core, starting at Buckner, could really make some waves in this league. Safety, Malcolm Jenkins leaves the Birds.
That must hit
didn't
home,
sign him
boys.
back.
Going back to the Saints.
Going back to the Bayou in New Orleans. 4 years, $35 million. Kind of feels like a homer deal for me. I don't know. If that's what all he wanted from the Birds, I'm a little disappointed we didn't re-sign him, to be completely honest. If that's all he was asking
I am
for.
as well.
But could that be just the little bump over the edge that the Saints need to win a Super Bowl? Oh, and let's hear your thoughts. You're the biggest on the Saints of us all. You think the Saints could win the Super Bowl this year?
That I didn't want to bring up Malcolm Jenkins yet because I knew we were going to get to that once we started talking about defensively. But that is the big part of that defense that I was talking about. You know, the offense is. Don't change it. You got what you got. Drew Brees is him. It's his system. He runs it to the best he possibly can, and it's unstoppable at times. When it comes to this defense, adding Malcolm Jenkins to an already pretty powerful defense is a very good move for the Saints. And at the deal, like you said, 4 years, $35 million. That's a great deal for the Saints. And to get a player at his caliber for that price is awesome. You know, and that's why I think they could really take it home this year if they have it all together.
Yeah, Dom?
I agree with Owen here. Malcolm Jenkins, he played like over 98% of the snaps or close to that number when, he played for Philadelphia. And I love him. I love the guy. Help us bring a Super Bowl to Philadelphia. He grinds. He's a grinder, and he knows how to play football. But he always stays healthy. Staying healthy. I think the Saints, their defense just got upgraded. He is a little bit older in age, but I don't think right now at his age, I think he's still okay. I think he's still got a good 2 years in him left about his prime safety abilities. But yeah, I think it's a good pickup for the Saints.
Yeah, I think for the Saints, a real big locker room guy. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins was the voice of the Eagles' defensive locker room. And to bring on a guy like that, you still have Cam Jordan on the defensive end. You've had some solid corners that have proved themselves over the past couple of years. I think this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, 2 years ago, should have made it there to play Tom Brady and the Patriots until that no pass interference call was made. Last year, arguable offensive pass interference on Kyle Rudolph. Some people argue you don't call that in that spot in the game. Not as big of a blunder, but still, if you're a Saints fan, you feel like you've been cheated the past couple of years. But talking about the Eagles now, Big Play Slay is the top paid corner in the league now on the Eagles. $60 million over 4 years. I mean, I don't want to
move by Philly.
I don't want to just call you out here, Dom. I don't want to just call you out here, Dom. But on your Twitter, either yesterday or the day before, you said, man, as an Eagles fan, I'm disappointed. We never make the big time moves. We never go get anybody. And then, boom. Today, Big Play Slay coming to Philadelphia. How you feel about it, Dom?
I corrected. Well, listen here. Let's go, baby! We finally got our number one corner. Let's go! I mean, really, Darius Slay, he is gonna lock down. I mean, listen, we have to deal with Amari Cooper in our division, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, our division's not great.
I mean, but yeah, I feel like we were always missing for so many years that corner that could just lock down the number one. And every time we're playing the Falcons, Julio Jones always has a game against us. Almost every wide receiver one that we play always has a game. Yeah. And I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of having those wide receiver ones come out, play against Philadelphia, and just absolutely tear apart our secondary. Yeah. I can't stand it.
And Darius Slay is, dare I say, I'm not going to say the best, but a top 5 man-to-man cornerback in the league.
I think he's the best man-to-man corner in the league.
I mean, Slay can really play. In man-to-man, Slay, whew. I mean, his numbers last year don't tell the full story, but he had 2 picks, and he had 13 pass deflections. Darius Slay, I mean, knows what he's doing on the defensive end. And the guy that we as the Eagles missed out on Byron Jones. I mean, he was the top paid corner in the league for about a week there. Not even.
Byron Jones.
And he is now a Miami Dolphin. He signs with the Dolphins for 5 years, $80.5 million. $57 million of that is guaranteed money for Byron Jones on the Dolphins. So, I mean, the Dolphins have been adding some pieces. How do you guys feel about the Dolphins? You think that they have a shot at winning the AFC East if they draft Tua Tagovailoa with the 5th pick? I see that the Dolphins are considering trading up to get Joe Burrow.
Listen, this they're gonna go a good like 500, maybe a little bit less. They're gonna go maybe like 6-10, 7-9.
Even if Tua goes there, Tua's gonna sit for a year. But if this team brings in Joe Burrow, you think that they're 6-10 in that AFC?
Joe Burrow's going to the Bengals. Okay, I feel like Joe Burrow's fits better in the Bengals system.
I don't know, man.
It's going to be rough all around. This draft class there's a lot of talent coming in this draft class, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
I know.
The teams that they're going to be going to, the teams that they're going to.
You know what I can't wait for?
Need a lot of
I can't wait until we do our draft.
I think Dom's lagging a little bit over there, but I think you're trying to say a mock draft. And yeah.
No. What I said is I cannot wait until we do our NFL draft podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like a mock draft. Of like
yeah. Okay.
Not a fantasy mock draft, but a mock draft for us. It can be very, very interesting to see where players go. But this free agency is off to one heck of a start. No sports due to the coronavirus going around, and I mean, the NFL has proven to have some entertainment for us. So any other free agents that you guys want to talk about that I don't have on the list here?
There's moves to come. Howard, you know that.
Jordan Howard is no longer with Philly.
He's on the Dolphins.
He is now taking his talents to. He is now taking his talents to South Beach.
Yeah, I mean, just a big name that I want to throw out there to Owen. Jadeveon Clowney, free agent. You know.
Yeah.
With some money available with our previous transgressions here.
Could he be going back to Houston?
The only reason I can see him not coming back is because of his relationship with our coaching staff, which was an issue before he left. And I understand that tensions may have been high at the time of the decision making, but he's in Seattle with a team that could really dominate.
I mean, he was in Seattle. Now he's a free agent. It's got to go somewhere else. But, I mean, why not go back to Seattle if you think that team could win the Super Bowl?
Yes, and why not come back to Houston if you feel like you can really compete with that team? It's just now, where he ends up is going to be something I'm going to be biting my nails until I see.
Yeah.
I know something we forgot about, boys.
Let's hear it.
Can we talk about Antonio Brown for a sec?
I was going to bring that up next. Yes.
And how Tom Brady wants AB to play for the Bucks. Could you imagine? Could you just imagine that offense with AB?
Here's the thing. If Antonio Brown goes to the Buccaneers, he's going to have to take a massive pay cut. Yeah.
Money.
Mr. Whole Lot of Money. He's not going to get a lot there.
Not taking a pay cut.
And Antonio Brown will be most likely suspended at the start of the season if he comes back. So that Tampa Bay Bucks team won't have him at the start. I'd expect about an 8-game suspension. That'd be my guess. He's pulled a lot. And he's been apologizing. He's been on his apology tour. But, I mean, I don't know. I know he lives in.
It's interesting to see. Free agency isn't over yet. There's so much that could happen.
No, I saw a report during this actually that Julian Edelman liked a tweet from Deion Sanders saying that Tom Brady should bring Julian Edelman to Tampa Bay. So
wow.
Mike Evans on one side.
Let's not get ahead of
Chris
ourselves.
Godwin on one side and Julian Edelman in the slot. That team could win the division.
Talking about Antonio Brown going there, talking about Julian Edelman going there. How many receivers does this man need? All right, we understand we want Tom Brady to be the GOAT and all, but if you give him the best receivers core in the league, he really has no excuses at that point.
Correct.
He has zero excuses, though. That's the thing that people will misinterpret. If he doesn't have an absolutely dominating season with the receivers that he has, and the talk about Godwin going to LA for a Gurley and Cooks trade too, which is still hearsay, who knows? But that's just another receiver. That's just another reason for Tom Brady to not have any excuses for failure. No excuses.
Yo, that would be big.
That would be big. Yeah.
I'd love to have Todd Gurley on the same team as Tom Brady. Come on now.
If that trade doesn't happen, what number do you guys think Chris Godwin wears? Because Tom Brady's not letting him wear 12. No chance.
Oh, absolutely not.
11?
Yeah.
13? Whatever. No, 13 is Mike Evans. So.
Yeah, so.
Next. 11. Yeah, I'm going to go that way. It's close.
I mean.
Or he's going to be a big 81. Who knows?
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. With the way that the Buccaneers are right now, here's the teams that I don't think that they could beat in a playoff game or a Super Bowl. I don't think that...
Let me get the list out. There's going to be a long one for this.
I don't think the Buccaneers would beat Seattle or San Francisco in a playoff game. I think they could beat anybody else in the NFC. I know.
It's rough.
And I wouldn't pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now over the Chiefs. And depending on how the Ravens do, because if the Ravens make the Super Bowl, that means Lamar Jackson played good throughout the playoffs. I don't know if I'd take them over the Ravens either.
I wouldn't take them over the Ravens. I wouldn't take a lot of teams over the Ravens, but Chiefs, I agree. Chiefs, I don't think that he would be able to play against the Saints. It's once playoff time comes, it's going to be a long, hard path for them.
Yeah. I mean, with where
and
you
props
have
to them if they can get through it and compete at a high level. That'd be outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, Dom, you said you got them going to the Super Bowl. You got them winning it. I mean, or do you have like the Chiefs or somebody beating them?
I think Brady gets
before
his last one.
They're not going to get to the Chiefs.
He gets his last one
through the Saints here. They can't get to the Chiefs if they can't get through the Saints. So until that happens, we can't talk about playoffs when one of our biggest competitors is in their division.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably debate about this all day, but I think that is going to wrap it up for our first episode today. We don't have a set time for the second episode yet. Instagram and Twitter will be in the description
Follow our pages.
of this chat. Follow the pages.
Follow it all.
They will be out on there. For Dom, Owen, Stay Humble Sports, I'm Dylan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.